So if you can see my slides, this is me about 10 years ago, right? The left picture is where my hometown is. It's called Chengdu. It's a city in the southwest China mainland. And the right side is where I kind of pretend to teach an English class in my middle school. And that's pretty much 5 years ago. So you can see 5 years make a huge difference age-wise on my appearance. So I came to the States around 2010 when I was almost 18 years old. I got here. I was let's say sophomore year high school in China, and I got here and got to the senior year just to finish high school. When I got here, I was kind of clueless. I've never been to the States before, fresh off the boat, you would say. I've never speak English in a native English environment. So that was kind of rough for me, especially the writing part. I still remember the very first algebra class I had senior year of high school, local high school here in Alhambra. The instructor let me to solve asked me to solve a problem on the board, and I was able to solve that very fast. But I was able to describe what those symbols, what those equations mean. I simply write out the equation and finish it, and wasn't able to describe it. And it kind of left us kind of in shock because I was able to solve it so fast, but couldn't talk about it, right? So then it improved about when I was like halfway through the senior year, after taking so many classes like history, economy, and politics. And then in my senior year, I also was trying to just take the effort to kind of get involved in the society, right? The left side picture you see is a local military museum where I volunteer a lot of my weekends there. I was serving as a staff that kind of grade the audiences or the tourists, the guests, and also occasionally clean those military vehicles. Some of these vehicles are able to drive on the road actually, and the city actually park actually use them to.
这是一半。
这个
The city actually used those vehicles in the parades. And the right side picture is where I had my first job. It was to clean the pools in these apartments. I got the job kind of just by talking to those managers. And it was in my summer of the summer between junior and senior year. Didn't know what that job is, didn't know how to do it, but they gave me the equipment and I did that, and the pay was pretty well. What I say is, no matter how the environment is new or strange, you can always find a way to fit in. This next slide, the picture shows Pasadena City College. This is where I got into right out of high school. I didn't take the SAT exam, and I didn't apply for any four-year universities. Because back then, my thought was, okay, if I can get to a community college, I can save money, I can take the classes in the easier pace, and then I'll transfer to a four-year university. So that's what I did. I spent 3 years in PCC. In the meantime, I also volunteered in a local library in San Marino. That's a San Marino City Library, where I just volunteer as a front desk staff to kind of help on the IT problems or IT equipment and those computers. Those are where my workstation is pretty much. There I spent 3 years, took all the required courses and credits for electrical engineering. And then actually halfway through the 3 years, I wasn't sure like what major I want to focus on in the university, but that was determined after I took a kind of like a summer camp in UCLA, where UCLA offered 3 weeks where you can live in the campus, go to the classes with actual UCLA students, and talk to the instructors and advisors, and they'll give you a very good idea of what the four-year university, what those technical majors, what the classes are like. So what my advice would give to high schoolers is that try to find those resources from universities. There's so many great schools around here in SoCal. So, Claremont, Pomona College, UCL, all those UCs, they offer these free programs where you can just apply and very big chance you could get in, and where you can just spend some time do the college and just get a feel of what that is like. Then after 3 years, I was able to transfer to UC Berkeley in the EECS program, EECS. Uh, that's one of the home games we had. I believe it was versus the state University of Michigan. We won. And then the other two pictures is that's the clock tower on the campus. And those 2 years had a huge impact on me. The first is when I get into UC Berkeley, there was a shock about how competitive the school is. Back in PCC, I thought I was good GPA wise. It was pretty easy for me. But once I got into Berkeley, all the courses are in a different level. The technical courses, the homework, the projects, the exams. I was struggling for real. I was struggling, and a lot of my student classmates who also had a similar backgrounds transferring from a community college, they were also struggling because these schools have all those good students from around the world, right? So you're pretty much competing with them, and it's really hard. And it was not until I got in the second year of Berkeley, I started to get a feel of how to handle the coursework, how to balance the school and my life. And then even that, I kind of struggled on courses. I didn't graduate with a very high GPA. And in the very last semester, I actually spent the semester pretty much just doing job hunting. And this picture is one of my technical courses in the electrical engineering side. I believe this was using a Arduino or one of those programmable single board computers to do some fun projects. As you can see, this is using a very simple circuit to control a computer fan, and all the programming is done on the Arduino or I don't remember the exact name of that single board computer, the red square one. Um, and then the other important part, or a lot of time that I spent in Berkeley, is to get involved in a club called DBF, Design, Build, and Fly. This is a club that is just consists of students who are very interested in aerospace and airplanes in general. So what we do, our mission is to build those remote controlled airplanes and have them to compete with games where you have a series of missions to complete. So in the lower left corner, this is a game that was hosted in Arizona, a place called Tucson, where there's a huge empty airfield, and all the teams around the world come here to compete with their own UAV designs. And on the right side or on the ground, you can see that's our design, which is a flying wing airplane. And the missions, the challenges are pretty much you have to use an airplane to carry payloads, fly in the loop or fly through a series of courses, and then you have to drop the payload in a designated area. And all those steps determine the scores that your team got. Well, we didn't rank very high. I believe the champion that year was from Hong Kong. They really did a good job. But it was a fun experience because you get to spend the time with your teammates. You get to make all those plans. You get to practice. You get to rent car with school's money and drive all the way to Arizona. So that was pretty fun. And we spent a week in Arizona. And yeah. And then after I got out of school, I got a job. And that was the only job I got. That was the starting position in Northrop Grumman. So if you don't know, Northrop Grumman is one of those defense contractors. It's a pretty huge corporation where we build all sort of weapons, machines, and develop technologies, satellites. And my sector happens to build these signal processing payloads or chassis, you would say, just computers that is loaded onto the airplanes, right, and fly for our warfighters. And our company office, which is in Sacramento, is in the is actually in a airport. This airport used to be deployed Air Force bombers, but then in the early 80s, they decommissioned it and turned it into a commercial use or civilian use airport. As you can see, those four plants, those are all those all belong to CAL FIRE. Those are firefighting airplanes. And the one on the far right side is a Boeing 747. That's the largest firefighting airplanes in the world. And there's only one of it. Its home base is Sacramento. And this is a scene where we can just open the back door of our office and can see, because our office has direct access to the runway. And you can see that there's a hangar on the right side. Those are storage units of our company, because we have testing plans, testing platforms stored in those hangars. And then after 2 years I spent working, I decided to go back to school, because by then I had a very good idea of what I want to improve, what new area technology or knowledge I want to take. And then I went back to University of Southern California. The reason why is because it's close to my home. The expense is going to be lower if I live in home and work remote for my company. And my company actually sponsored my we call it the spending, the expense in the school. They paid pretty much all of it. I was able to just do the 2 years of master's with very low cost. The other picture in this slide is me spending some fun time with my colleagues. We were kind of hiking in, I don't remember the name of the mountain, but it was in Lake Tahoe. I don't remember it. It was one of the mountains in Lake Tahoe. The background shows Lake Tahoe. The other hobby I spend a lot of time is to collect firearms and actually do some range shooting. This is one of the competitions I did with in SoCal, where you also have a series of course you have to compete with other candidates. This is pretty fun. Once you get in adult time, the adult you should try it. And due to my general interest in weaponry and just military tech, I also spend a lot of time just trying to attend those events. So if you don't know, there's always the Fleet Week in LA every Independence Day weekend, and then there's the air shows hosted by Marines and Air Force in San Diego. I believe this year they have it in September, so look it up. It's an air show in San Diego. And then the right side pictures are the ranches I used to go all the time in NorCal, in north of San Francisco, actually around Sacramento. That's just me attending another competition here in SoCal. And out of that, I pretty much spent a lot of time, all the time actually, with my lovely wife and 3 pets. As you can see, we have 1 dog and 2 cats, Birds and Irene are very used to. Well, I kind of rushed through all my slides, and that's pretty much it. I guess next we can get into the Q&A session. All right, any comments or questions?
Okay, I'll start off with a question. So, Carrie, for a high school interested in like engineering, what subjects would you recommend they focus on to prepare for this field?
I don't know. For engineering, I would say math is very important. If you get a chance, please take an AP course for maybe linear algebra, probability theory, let's say calculus. And the next is probably physics. Well, depends on the potential major you want to take on, the area of interest you want to focus on. I want to say physics, chemistry, biology, right? If you want to go to be a doctor of biology is very important. But math is pretty much the basic foundation of every subjects that you want to pursue in your later school years. So yeah, math. And then other subjects I can think of, maybe spend some time if you do have spare time, maybe try to learn a machine language, try to learn a programming language. Maybe pick Python because it's very popular. It's very close to natural language, so it's very easy to pick up. And it's very good for the machine learning. Right? You know, AI is a very hot topic now, and it has a lot of interactions with other areas. Right? Everyone's trying to get AI into their fields, and Python is a very good programming language to get started with, especially with AI and machine learning. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Engineering is a vast field. Could you suggest some fun and accessible projects that students can start to get into engineering?
Well, depends on what your interest is, right? I would say start with some so-called open source projects where you can find the people, where you can find a community where you can talk to those people who contribute to the projects. I can just talk about from the programming side, right? There's a lot of platforms that have open source projects, and there are a lot of great communities behind those projects where you can learn a lot. And open source means all the code, all the prompts, all the resources are free to be shared with everyone. And it's actually their mission to have people to contribute to contribute to those projects so it can be used by everyone. So start with open source projects. Open source also it's not limited to coding. It also has, let's say, 3D printing, right? You can find blueprints of 3D prints and blueprints of circuit design. Maybe open source also means a lot of the readings, a lot of the scientific papers are also shared. So if you want, you can start getting a feel of what those are. Just try open source, what I say.
Yay. Next question. What are some of the most surprising or unexpected aspects of being an engineer that you think students should know about?
I want to say, sorry, can you repeat the question?
Uh, so like what are some of the most surprising or unexpected aspects of being an engineer that you think like students should know about?
Okay, let's see. So once you get out of school and actually get into an actual job, don't expect to start the job right off. Normally, there's a learning period and a very uh, there's a learning curve involved with it too. There's a lot of readings uh, on existing toolings, and there's a lot of time that's spent on prototyping with very basic uh, with the basics of the products or the products you're gonna improve or build upon. Uh, so in order to get familiar with this process, maybe get an internship in your early college years, maybe during the summer breaks, trying to find an internship, right? Because that'll give you a feel of what the workplace is. And as a general tip, networking is also very important. You can start very early on in your college life, even in high school. You can just go talk to the what we call the admission officers of colleges, right? Just introduce yourself. Maybe you don't have a very long background yet, but introduce yourself, show some confidence, and you'll leave a very good impression of them. And maybe next time when you talk to them through email, they'll know you, and it's pretty much open the back door for you to get into the school, right? Or the program. So networking is very important, and that is very important throughout your career, your life and career. Yeah, networking and manage your expectations.
How do you use creativity in your role as an engineer? And can you share an example of a creative solution to a problem you've worked on?
Example. Well, I want to say creativity, especially, well, at least in my job, can only be used to a certain degree because we pretty much build upon existing stuff. We're not exploring the new frontier, and that's what the PhDs do. Um, Normally, our work is just uh,
Did he freeze?
I think so. I thought it was just me, but
Maybe.
Oh, Miss Momo's not here
uh-oh.
either. Uh-oh.
There we go.
oh, sorry, I think I dropped out. Where did I? Where was
We're
I?
answering the fourth question and we froze.
Oh, the fourth question. That's about the creativity, right?
Creativity, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. So, creativity. Where was I? Uh, oh, I was saying, am I still sharing screen?
No, no,
No.
no.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, just keep it this way. So, I was saying that creativity can only be used to a certain degree, especially in my job. Pretty much all our work is built upon existing stuff. We're not exploring the new frontier, right? So normally that's what the PhDs do. They explore the new possibilities in the field. My work is done in a very iterative way, where we prototype, we test it, we find the problems, we go back into development again. Like it's a very step-by-step procedure. So creativity is probably not used as much as you would expect. Yeah.
Okay. On to the next question. With technology constantly developing and evolving, how do you keep your skills up to date and what advice do you have for students to do the same?
Mm, so don't stop learning new stuff and try to utilize all the free resources online from your school, from your employer. Uh, Free resources meaning free courses or training camps or just short sessions that's hosted by other peers or people that know more stuff than you in a certain field, right? Try to attend those sessions, workshops, and all these events will give you some new ideas, some new knowledge. So that's a way to keep up with the new technology. The other thing is maybe try to keep up with the news, especially the news on how, let's say, how AI intertwine with the area of your interest, right? So for me, I pretty much try to read those articles on how AI is can help improve, uh, let's say, signal processing, how you can identify certain voice from useful information, right? Uh, Continue learn, use free resources, and keep up with it. That's going to be my suggestions.
Okay. Ming Chen asks, what do you think is the best and most exciting part of your life?
Best and exciting part of my life is, I would say, possibilities, right? At this age, there's many years ahead of me. I can spend all my free will to explore the world and place I want to be and work on things I want to work on. So it's the possibilities that gets most of the excitement out of me.
Okay. Another question. Engineering can lead to many different career paths. Could you talk about a few options and what they involve?
Yeah, yeah. So I'll just take an example of my job. right? So, uh, engineer as a software engineer, we call you pretty much spend a couple of years being a software engineer, right? And then maybe as you finish some significant projects and do very successful impact in your company, your sector, you get promoted. Uh, and then there are a couple levels of software engineers. And then after that, you have the option to either be a system engineer or a field engineer or a functional engineer or a functional manager or a product manager. System engineer is uh, the the people that do high level system designs, and they actually are customer facing. They do have a lot of interactions with customers. Uh, from a software engineer to a system engineer, there's definitely learning about involved, right? So that kind of go back to the previous question about do not stop learning. Um, and then field engineers are the person who communicate between the customers and the engineering team in the home office, right? So this guy has to understand the problem and translate that into a language that the engineering team can understand, and vice versa. And field engineers are normally deployed to the customer sites. So that's one branch. The other branch is being a manager. A manager can be functional manager, product manager. Functional manager is more like the HR, where you have to have people skills. You manage a small team of engineers, and you're gonna be handling their taskings, probably not taskings, but definitely their performance and pretty much their promotions too. Product manager is customer facing, right? They like system engineers, and sometimes system engineer is a product manager. But you have to understand the demands of the customer and translate that into design and taskings and schedules, and then have the engineering team successfully execute it. And then you have to kind of take the feedbacks from customers and get into the development every step of the development. Um, that's that's a large category of career path. The other category of career path is pretty much create your own business, right? Because you have the knowledge, you have the experience from a company. Maybe you have a good idea. Maybe you want to dedicate your time and resource into this good idea. You can start your own business. And then that's the second branch. The last branch I want to say is probably try something totally different, right? Because I have a good example is one of my colleague. He quit the job during the pandemic and moved to Montana, and actually opened it. Actually not opened, but he worked as a bakery. What do you call the person? Honestly, bakery master of some sort, where he just make breads. Right, totally different career path, but that's what you can do as long as you like it.
Okay, and then Irene asks, why do you travel so much?
Why do I travel so much? I don't travel enough. That's actually said. There's so many places I want to be, but once you have job, you have other responsibilities that limits your capability to travel. But they'll get better. You'll improve. But why do I travel so much? Is because the world is so large. There's so many things you want to see, you want to experience. Um, yeah, that's why.
Is there any more questions for Carrie?
Any other comments, feedbacks? Well, if you want to know, if you want to know more about any of those previous things, like how to get on open source, let me know. I'll give you some resource. I'll point you to the right direction.
Oh yeah, I have a question, personal question. You said how you were like at the what was it called, military base or whatever to like work, but
Mhm.
How did you get that picture, like in your presentation? Is
That's not
it,
a military base. That was a previous military base. That's actually
oh,
a,
so it's
a
just like dead
civilian
tanks?
airport. Yeah, it's actually a
Okay, okay.
civilian airport now. It used to deploy those bombers, if you know, F1, I believe it's F110, pretty large bomber actually.
Are the
The
tanks
Cold
in the
War, but
picture
in the
still
late,
there?
yeah, the museum is still open.
That's cool.
It's called American Military Museum. Very large name, but very small place. I'll give you the address actually. Hold
Oh, really? Okay.
on. Any other comments? All right, I guess we can wrap it up.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for attending today's Carrie Deng presentation. This is probably a wrap up.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you. A lot of information. Good
Yes,
night.
thank you for being here.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye. Take care.